Hello, Pyrofox, and welcome to your deck review. I've taken the liberty of pre-reading your primer, which is about wanting to exile everybody's libraries with Maryland, which is a great dream and almost definitely one that we're not going to be able to achieve. I saw you also said you have an emergency crater hoof, which that's probably right for bracket 3, and you said your 3 win cons are I exile my opponent's entire library, I find something that can win within their library, or I hoof them right in the cooter. I am sorry to tell you that if you want reliability, you're probably going to the third option, right? Because you have Crater Hoof, you have Jubilance, you have Endray's Forerunners, you have Beastmaster Ascension, you have Chronicle of Victory, you have more than enough cards to make a critical mass of, if have many guy. Many guy kill you, yes, good. Haha. Hammers, Jarvis. So, if we want to try to make exiling our opponent's entire library's work, we almost certainly have to go infinite. Now, the good news is that you are in bracket 3, so it is not totally unreasonable to go infinite. You'll notice I haven't even scrolled to the deck yet. I see you have 37 lands, 32 creatures, 9 sorceries, 8 instants, 10 artifacts, 7 enchantments. I'm assuming some of these are like Kindred Yaya. We have 32 elves and fairies because it's Maryland, and then we probably have an EDH rec removal package, maybe a counterspell for feeling feisty, and maybe 1 or 2 like recursion pieces. That's probably right for about a Kindred deck. So we will get into what you have built in just a moment, but what I want to start with is if you wanted to go infinite, how would we do it? Or if you wanted to dream the impossible dream of like, I'm fine if it loses a lot of games. If the games I do win, I win by picking up your entire deck and throwing them off the table. So one path is going to be any number of like 3-card infinite reanimation loops. Off Dome, I don't know any fairies or elves that have persist innately, because persist combos are a relatively perfunctory thing to pull off at this point. You get a persist creature, you get a thing that brings them back with a +1/+1 counter like Thrawn Vigil or Machias, and then you sack it over and over and over and you get infinite ETBs. Now, I don't know of an elf or goblin that, I keep saying goblin because it's in front of me. I don't know of an elf or fairy that has that. So you can kind of recreate it with a 3-card combo, and one that might not be too difficult for you to do is we get Archaeomancer. Notably not an elf or a fairy, so you would be in trouble with the police. But you get Archaeomancer, you get, let's say, Phyrexian Altar. And then I'm going to have to look this up in Scryfall. There's one card I'm thinking of. It looks like a Ratchet and Clank card. What's your name, dog? I know you exist. I found you for a different deck. Oh, what? How many of... Maybe it's not. Return creatures battlefield. Hold on. That's 2. Where is this card? Where is this card? It's like a 5-mana spell. It's a 5-mana spell that I swear to God brings back stuff that left the battlefield this turn. Let me go to Tagger and see if I can find it that way. We'll say reanimate. Mana value 5. Commander Sultai. It's definitely in mono black though. Not Living Death. Not Incarnation Technique. There it is. Holy shit. Thrilling Encore is the final piece of this puzzle. I'm so sorry that took so long. Um, so this would do it for you. Now, and this would be kind of a fairish bracket 3 combo, because what it would require is you would need to have Marilyn, you would need to have Marilyn, you would need to have Archaeomancer, and you would need to have at minimum 3 other creatures, because you have to sacrifice, you would sack your board to Phyrexian Altar, you would cast Thrilling Encore, Archaeomancer enters, you would return Thrilling Encore to your hand, bam, 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 and then your board just like snip, snap, off the board, on the board, off the board, on the board. That's really all that you have. And now, in defense of this combo, I'm normally somebody who really, really doesn't like combos, but again, you paid me $20, so I like whatever you like, baby. In defense of this combo, all 3 pieces could probably go into the deck without too much hassle. Like, Archaeomancer is just a good card. Thrilling Encore, if you're in the business of holding up a lot of mana for Sultai control, not a terrible card. The worst card is probably Phyrexian Altar, because outside of going for a combo, you likely don't have much need for sacrifice stuff. So if running something like this is attractive to you, I would look into other reanimation loops in Sultai. You can probably find these on like Commander Spellbook, maybe? There's a search engine for Commander combos. So I would look into this for Sultai reanimation loops if you do want to try to go infinite. If you don't want to try to go infinite, your only other option is, all right, I'm going to go non-deterministically infinite. And for that, let's see if you have enough Panharmonicon effects in your colors that we could reasonably assemble all of them onto the board because you have high rolled so much. So we have, yeah, sure, Trigger Doubler, Commander Sultai. All right, so we have Roaming Throne, Panharmonicon, Drivnod and Ancient Green Warden don't apply. Chocobo doesn't apply unless we get a Maskwood Nexus up in this bitch. Virtue of Knowledge does apply. Fractured Realm does apply, but is 7. Vocalist applies. Yarok applies. That is 6. Wow. So if we got every single one of these onto the field, and this is really actually, these are all things that only trigger an additional time. My brain short-circuited for a moment as I was like, wait, that's 2 to the 6th power. That's a ton of times, but it's not doubling them. It is just adding 1 more to them. So each elf or fairy we played would represent 14 cards off of 1 person's deck, which means we would need, what, 6, 7? Sorry, I'm so sorry. We would probably need 6 elves or fairies to get each person, which means we're looking at like 18, maybe 19 or 20. 18 to 20 creature falls have to happen with every trigger doubler that is applicable to us before it can happen. And I am not trying to bully you out of something you enjoy. I am just trying to present the mathematical realities of how difficult it is going to be to hit that mark, so that when I tell you to play Chronicle of Victory like a good boy, we don't go like, oh yeah, but I could maybe exile their libraries with Panharmonicon. No, 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 no. Because you and I now know we need Panharmonicon, we need Virtue of Knowledge, we need Fractured Realm, we need Vocalist, we need Yarok, and we need Roaming Throne. And then we have to play 60% of the creatures in our library before we get there. So Marilyn is a very good theft piece, a god-awful mill piece. If you want to... Now you could look into like hee-hee-hoo-hoo Marilyn, but then there's a Bruvac combo somewhere in there, and at that point I feel like we're getting really far afield of what the deck wants to do. So let's look at what you've actually included. Hell yeah, elves, fairies, elves, fairies. Hey, what the fuck? That's not an elf or a fairy. Good card, though. Elves who make elves who make elves. Okay, you know what? I have one other option for you. I would not play this. I think you can so cleanly convert. I do not think you want to be in the token strategy at all. I think if you are, or you don't want to be in like, boy howdy, I'm gonna make so many tokens specifically, and that will make more sense in a moment. You are coping hard, brother. You are coping hard, brother, and I support it. All right. I see her in the woods. I'm giving her my true name. I get it, but no, 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 no. Because this is to say, like, I do think you should abandon the I'm gonna get through a meaningful amount of your library plan unless you want to commit to combos, or this really, really stupid other thing I'm gonna tell you, which is you could go in for some of the greediest clone shit I have seen this side of Camino. I mean, honestly, like, if we extravagant replicationed a Elvish War Master, don't laugh yet. If we extravagant replicationed an Elvish War Master in every turn, we made a new Elvish War Master. After one turn, one War Master would see the other War Master, would make a 1/1. Oh, but only triggers once each turn. Do we have any other things that are going to, that we could stack up kind of like heir apparent style? I mean, this kind of works heir apparent style, just not. We just can't play more of them for cheap enough. We can't rip enough. We can't rip enough of them into play. Oh, greedy baby. Greedy, greedy child you are. Yeah, like this is the thing that I don't. I think you can keep if you are trying to do the combo plan. I don't think you can keep if you want it to be like Maryland, Elvish boots on the ground, fairy boots up in the air. The 7 of these are fine. This is you had to have had this. You had to have gotten the 99 cards and looked around your room in quiet desperation, because this is really, really bad, and you know this. If you have ever cast Force of Will and been like, wow, being able to deterministically counter something, very good. Mana Drain and Quench. Okay, so this should be a counterspell. If this is just to be rude, I respect it, keep it. Alright, we have Chronicle, we have Panharmonicon, we have greedy, greedy, greedy theft card. We have Mox Amber, which I'm not sure I support unless we have a lot more legendaries than I thought on that first pass. We have Morkant, we have Lathril, we have Obira, that's 3. We have 3 legendaries in the deck and then only 1 on field. Like, you know, most elves just do this, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting too catty. I'm in a catty mood today. This could just be another elf that just makes mana. I don't think we have the concentration of legendaries to support that. Enchantments, yeah, fairies, great. Yeah, you talked about this softly going infinite to board wipe the board, but it makes you overrun. Like in bracket 3, yeah, for sure, that's okay. This is the type of thing. So, Parallel Lives, Roaming Throne, Panharmonicon, and like honorable mention Roaming Throne, because you probably have other elves or fairies whose abilities you want to trigger, but like Parallel Lives and Panharmonicon, that is the category of card I'm going to urge you to move away from unless you want to go all in, and I mean all in, on I am assembling a cloning factory of elves and fairies. And I got to be honest with you, that's not going to be very good. It's going to be very fragile. People will see you setting up. It will be easy to interrupt, but it is a way you can go not infinite and non-deterministically make enough elves or fairies to exile everybody's deck. What it would require is finding things like Elvish Warmaster and then getting down extravagant replication. There is also Endless Evil, which is a 3-mana version that makes a 1/1 version of it every turn. There is Followed Footsteps. Right, these are really expensive. If Elvish Warmaster dies, you're totally cooked, but it does do what you want. Let's do repeatable creature tokens, O-tag, copy, creature, commander, Sultai. Okay, you could Springheart Nantuko, one of your elves or token makers. This is for zombies only. There's Mirror Hall Mimic. You could do Vesuvian Duplimancy requires you to kind of be targeting your own stuff with a lot of spells. Bramble Sovereign is not great because it only works on the non-token version of this. There is Progenitor Mimic. Orvar, kind of the same problem. Mirror Mockery doesn't keep it around. Caller of the Untamed works, but is draft only. Yeah, so that's also not enough. It might be just enough to cope, but if you really want to do the Exile plan, I recommend either doing the combos or I recommend getting every trigger doubler and getting every repeatable token maker that I just pulled up for you, and you just fucking shove them in this deck at the expense of your other ramp, at the expense of your Blackblade Reforged, at the expense of your interaction, and you just hope to God that you get away with it. Okay. Let's do some quick and dirty. If we're not doing that, and we want a functional elf deck that's going to beat people to death, what do we not need? You don't need Villainous Wealth anymore. You don't need For the Common Good anymore. You actively do not want Culling Ritual. Most of your good curve out elves are going to be 1 or 2 mana, and if the deck is if you're currently worried about like, oh, what happens if they remove Marilyn once or twice, it's probably because we haven't played enough of the ramp elves, maybe because we had Culling Ritual in the deck. Cruel Claw's Heist is very, very bad, and you know this, but you are theft pilled, which is beautiful. Bloodline Bidding is great. Replication's fine. It's very funny. I like it. Worthy Cost is fine, but at $800, we could just be playing removal that doesn't make us get rid of a creature. Let's see. Skemvar is cute, but you could probably just beat people to death. Like, this is where you should also make a decision about if you want to aristocrat or if you want to do tempo beatdown. Because if you're going like, oh, well, what do I do if I can't break through their line? You can. You can. Play a card draw spell, play a tutor, play an impulse, go find Chronicle of Victory, go find Craterhoof, go find Endrace Forerunners, go find Preposterous Proportions. There's a million things we can do. But I think you should decide, am I the beatdown or am I draining you softly, and orient the deck strongly around that? Timberwatch Elf is very funny. What's your curve like? We are way, way too high at 2, Brother Bear. Okay, the other thing I'm going to recommend, you got to get up to like, you need like 10 1-drop elves. So the elves who are above a 1-drop that I don't love as much Probably Dwinnins. Elvish Rejuvenator. Marileaf Pixie. This is an elf, or it's an elf or fairy, which is cute, but like we've left a lot of one-drop elves that can just ramp already on the table. I think Mirkwood Bats is pursuant to whether you want to be the beatdown or the suck. Loyalist is fine, is cute enough. How many fairies are we on? 9. I would say you probably got to kill Obira unless you want to go way more up on fairies. I think Una is probably also going away. Again, unless you're going into the like, I am doing combo and combo byproducts to totally exile people's libraries. Shaman of the Pack, like super a draft card. This could be, you know, these aristocrat pieces could be other finishers if you want to go for that greedy clone pile I proposed, because then you might have enough elves. If we're talking about the order of magnitude of elves necessary to exile everybody's libraries with Maryland's effect, then you have enough elves for like Skemfar and Shaman. Otherwise, you're probably rocking with like 5 to 10 elves, which is the point at which I would rather play a banner or look for a banner or look for a Crater Hoof. Tutor is fine. Tome Skinner. I don't love Tome Skinner mainly because I don't think you want to be playing on other people's turns very much. You mostly just want to be like vomit. So the other things I'm going to recommend to you is stuff like Elven Chorus. This has a lot of potential. Being able to rip stuff off the top of your library instead of having to use stuff in your hand while being able to tap your creatures for mana. Huge for Kindred. I don't think that is particularly groundbreaking, but I would focus yourself more on how do I cast from my library. So like this is a decent elf. I get to clean land drops off my deck. Don't play changelings, you're better than that. That is a centaur that says Elven Chorus. You could do Case of the Locked Hothouse. Not having Eladamri is certainly a choice. Rashmi is a kind of cute value engine, but I'm recommending much more expensive things to you. I think what you want to get kicking with is more elves that just ramp you into Maryland more quickly. Like your turn 1, turn 2 should always be like, land, I play a 1-drop elf that makes me mana. Next turn, land, I play a 1-drop elf that makes me mana. Next turn, land, I play Maryland. They shoot it instantly. You go, fuck. I go, land, an elf that taps my elves for mana, or like another 4 to 6 mana synergy piece, or another one of my things that will draw me cards to get me more land drops to get back to Maryland. I think the reason that the possibility of getting bullied sounds like a problem for you is you have not leaned enough into the elvish ability to get the people going instantly. So I would go up to between 10 and 15 options for 1-drop ramp, and I cannot impress upon you enough. The cuts probably don't count. It is Kindred. As long as you have maybe 5-ish Crater Hoof or banners or like big finisher effects like that, wherever you cut from, it'll probably work out. But I would look into casting from the top of your library. I would consider the brain poison of doing the Maulhound's Big Clone Adventure Store. And whatever you do, get more dorks in here. So I hope that helped, and I hope you enjoyed.